Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Donald Trump is returning to the White House as the 47th President of the United States of America. The Republican candidate won 294 electoral votes, while his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, only garnered 223 electoral votes. Trump also flipped the battleground states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. In his speech, Trump said that America will enter its golden age under his leadership.
This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have.
Meanwhile, Harris has already conceded to Trump earlier. The Democratic presidential nominee said she already called Trump to congratulate him and even vowed for a peaceful transition. She also urged her supporters to accept the election results, but not to concede their fight.
To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up.
Political analyst Jemmy Gatdula believes that the U.S.-Philippine relations are unlikely to shift significantly under the Trump presidency. And here's an excerpt from his interview on The Big Story.
First off, what do you think the relationship between Donald Trump and Bongbong Marcos will look like?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very good. I mean, look at it this way. Trump exhibited a huge deal of patience with the other president, the previous president. And this time, we have a president who actually had a personal relationship with Trump. And I think he admitted it when he was a young man.
He said it in his statement,
yeah,
pretty
in his
much.
Statement. So I think, and there are a lot of how should I put it, similarity in the mindset, the policy, security-wise, and all of that. So having said that, I don't think we should be worried too much of a radical change in policy. As far as policy is concerned, I think it's going to be the same, at least for the next couple of years. Now, the tactics, the way these policies are to be carried out, may of course have a little bit of the Trumpian flavor. He does have a flair for the dramatics and all of that. But one thing that we can, the benefit of looking at the Trump presidency, the one that's coming in January 20, the inauguration date, is that we have an experience of him from the previous 4 years that he was president. So we pretty much know the way that he will govern and so on.
It's less unpredictable.
Less unpredictable also because in the sense that this time he knows who to appoint. Because he himself admitted that the first time around when he came into Washington, he absolutely had no knowledge of who to appoint in the
But they say this time around that it might be a revenge administration, that he's out there to get the Democrats, and there are less people around him to keep him in check because of the anti-Trump in the Republican Party are gone. So
yeah.
How do you expect that second presidency to look like?
Also adding to that the fact that he's been battling a lot of legal issues the last 3 years. So it's a time for...
Well, the legal issues, that's another... With regard to the revenge thing, well, he has been accused of a lot of things, fascist, that he's Hitler, and so on. But again, we go back to the first 4 years. He never did actually any of those things. One good way of being able to expand your executive power is essentially to try to get into a conflict with another country. And that's how you actually expand your government. He never did any of that. In fact, he tried to pull himself out of the conflicts that you had. So essentially, he
incite
limited
the rebellion on January 6th, though.
Well, we can discuss that because the evidence that has
for which
become
he's still facing cases.
Yes,
Yeah.
but anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that as far as the statements that he made, when you actually look at the videos and put it into the context of the statement, he wasn't really saying he's going to be vindictive. He's actually, what he's saying is that he's going to apply the law.
The U.S. ambassador to the Philippines, Mary Kay Carlson, also assured Filipinos that nothing will change with our relationship with the U.S. under Trump. Carlson said the Indo-Pacific remains at the forefront of the U.S. interest. She also pointed out that the first Trump presidency previously lent support to the 2016 arbitral ruling that favored our country.
My counterpart and good friend, Babe Romualdez, has been in the United States for, 8 years now, I think? So he has been through a Trump presidency, he's been through a Biden presidency. So when he says he's confident that there's bipartisan support, remember, when you think about the security situation here in the Indo-Pacific, it was under the Trump administration that Secretary of State Pompeo came out and lent credence and support to the arbitral ruling that weighed in favor of the Philippines with regard to access and rights at Yungin Shoal, for example.
We'll be back with more stories after this break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Let's now take a quick look at today's other headlines. In the Philippine Star, former President Rodrigo Duterte is not attending today's hearing of the House Quad Committee. The former president reportedly viewed his presence at the hearing as, quote, no longer necessary. And in business world, the Philippines' agricultural production plunged by 3.7% in the third quarter. The value of production fell by 397.43 billion pesos, which is the steepest decline in nearly 4 years. Senator Amy Marcos said that she is still friends with Vice President Sara Duterte. This despite the vice president's remarks against the senator's brother, President Bongbong Marcos, and her late father, Ferdinand Marcos. Recall that VP Sara said Bongbong is incapable of being a president, and she will throw the late dictator's remains in the West Philippine Sea if the attacks against her will not stop. Senator Amy said she already moved on and she is now more focused on talking to different parties.
Ano po kayo kay VP Sara? Ay, hindi naman.
Your,
Sasabihan lang.
pero your friendship remains intact.
Marang rin naman ako sa kanya.
Sorry ma'am, your friendship remains intact.
Oo naman. Dapat naman kasi ganun, di ba? Ang importante sa akin, nakakatawid ako kahit anong alyansa.
The NU Bulldogs pulled off a gritty 67-62 comeback win over the USC Growling Tigers in the UAAP Men's Basketball Tournament. Jake Figueroa stepped up in the second half, scoring all of his 13 points, while Jolo Manansala led NU with 18 markers. The Tigers struggled to close out the game, allowing NU to control the final stretch and secure the hard-earned victory. Coming off a stunning upset against the UP Fighting Maroons, the NU Bulldogs now improved to 4 wins and 8 losses, keeping their slim Final Four hopes alive with 2 games remaining. Boxing is definitely not just a man's sport. That's because a mother from Lanao del Norte proved that her strength and agility inside the ring and in life can give you victories in life. Mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho with that report.
With her resilient spirit and unwavering determination, the 34-year-old Pinay boxer Norge Guro stands as a symbol of courage and strength. Hailing all the way from Iligan City, Norge Guro found boxing as a way to escape poverty just at the early age of 19.
Pag tinitingnan ko po yung mother ko na ito yung hirap na pag ganito, tapos si papa ko walang masyadong kinikita, si mama wala din. Parang gusto ko rin tumulong kahit papaano.
Norge would win amateur matches, and with just 300 pesos in hand, the young boxer would go home to her family fulfilled.
Makakabili ka na po ng bigas.
From playing in the streets of Iligan, Norge began making a name for herself during her first national stint in 2010. But what made the difference was when she claimed the WBC Asian Boxing Council Atomweight crown year 2018. Despite the perceived glamour of her career, were the nights Norge had to endure being away from her children.
Hindi maiwasan ng nanay na parang maiyak ka lang. Parang tutuloy yung luha ko kasi na mimiss mo yung mga anak mo. Layo ka na naman balik ulit sa training.
Just when things seemed to be going well, Norge fought a different battle, this time as a mother, during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Hindi ko rin in-expect yung time na yun na yung anak ko may mangyari na di maganda.
With the loss of her child, the Lanao del Norte fighter experienced depression even while training for a match just months after.
Hindi po sana ako lalaban noon kasi hinto na po talaga ako. Pero nang dahil sa nangyari sa anak ko, parang ang pumasok talaga sa isip ko, gusto ko mag-champion ulit eh.
With her head held high, the Filipino fighter went home as a WIBA Atomweight World Champion in the recently held clash last May in Thailand.
Hindi pwedeng sumuko kasi siyempre, sa ngayon, ang nasa isip lang talaga, gusto ko yung mahihaon sa kahirapan yung mga anak ko.
Norge is now looking forward to writing her next victory in another title defense next year. And as she steps into the ring, the crowd won't just be cheering for a fighter. They'll be witnessing the indomitable spirit of a mother, a warrior, and a champion. Mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho. We are One News.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 9 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Pauline Verzosa. We are One News.